Good afternoon, everyone. This is Mike Everson with the briefing for Thursday, July 16th. Not going to be a whole lot to talk about, but we'll go ahead and get started with a briefing. So, key messages. Your main thing is going to be heat. What we're looking at for the next 7 days is just how much warmer it's going to be. You're looking at highs in the mid 90s, maybe even upper 90s for some locations, and not a lot of rainfall. Kind of a big difference from what we've had over the last several days. Um, at least a few weeks. And then, think about that in the context of definitely going to the weekend, those warmer nights in urban areas, not getting a whole lot of relief. And then next key message part is just not much for tropics to really be concerned with. So this graphic was on our webpage. I think Chris did it yesterday. I thought it was a really good graphic, kind of starting to show heat risk and how that's expanding. That's kind of the gist of what you get out of this, where we've got I've got another slide coming up that's with some, ballpark heat indices that are in the forecast. But it's over 100 pretty much everywhere, getting closer to 108 as we go into Saturday, Sunday, starting to warm up a little bit more than that. But kind of like the headline says, it's our first real bout of heat this weekend, and it's true where you're really going to start to feel it this weekend, and then it's not just the next couple of days; it'll be going in well into next week. So that's what we got for the 7 day outlook. Take a look at those numbers down there. We're starting out today, 100, 105, and each day about 1 or 2 degrees are going to be bumping up on those heat indices so that by Sunday, there's going to be quite a few areas that are going to be around heat advisory. So kind of expect to see a heat advisory Sunday, if not then by Monday. And you look at that going into Wednesday where we've got most of the area, if not all of the area, pretty much in heat advisory, and then getting really close to that excessive heat, greater than 112. So it's going to be really close. So keep that in mind in terms of like if y'all do planning in your parish or county for cooling centers. This is kind of what you're looking at. Maybe Saturday, definitely Sunday, and for sure in early next week. Looking at some pretty hot temperatures and not a lot of relief in the overnight time frame. Could start to get a few isolated showers or storms early next week. Yeah, worth mentioning. It's not to say that any day this week, it's summertime, we're in the Gulf Coast, so you can still get a random shower, maybe storm or two. But if you only have 1 or 2 storms over the whole forecast area, it just doesn't make sense to put out 20-30% chance of rain. But some actual rain to worth mentioning would probably more like that Tuesday and Wednesday time frame of next week. Kind of continuing on with the temperature outlook. So even beyond the 7 days, we're probably on that above normal, not necessarily likely like the highest probability of being above normal, but we've been pretty warm lately, and it looks like that trend will continue beyond the 7 day forecast. As far as rainfall outlook, this is the next 7 days. So today through Wednesday, most of this rain and the forecast that's shown here is as I showed on the last slide, like that kind of Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. And pay attention to the numbers. Just because you're green doesn't mean a lot of rain. I mean, most of the inland areas are less than a quarter of an inch, so not much rainfall. Most of the stuff will be offshore or well to the east of us. So, kind of looking at the beyond that, the longer range, kind of makes sense if you think of the forecast where we're starting to get a little bit of a increase in rain chances middle of next week. So probably that time frame beyond, so the 8 to 14 day forecast period, probably start to see normal rain chances. So expect to see increasing chance of rain like Wednesday onward of next week. So that's what this graphic is trying to show you. And as I mentioned, not a lot in the tropics. They got a potential for development. It's east of here. Any development is way over the eastern side of the Gulf of Mexico, going across Florida. And that's not going to have any impacts for us. So that's good news for going into late July for tropics. And that's all I've got for myself. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.